Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of D&D CR Exposed here on the YouTubes, or YouTube channel, whatever. We're doing this for D&D 5th edition, and yeah, I gotta make this distinct because now I guess I'm still doing Tales of the Valiant as well. So you know, keep watching for those if you're into Tales of the Valiant, keep watching for this if you're into 5th edition, and let's check out these monsters. Now, before we get into the business, if you like what I'm doing here and you want to use this tool as well, you can grab this tool from my Ko-fi page for free, or you can donate if you feel so inclined to. Donations are completely optional, and you are more than welcome to donate if you feel so inclined to. Otherwise, completely for free. I just want people to use it. So, with that out of the way, you know, you can check the links in the description to get it from my Ko-fi page at ko-fi.com/DNDCR Exposed, and you know, grab the tool, see what else I have in my shop, because I have a couple subclasses for sale, or for free actually right now because they're in the beta form. I also have some custom monsters that I've created, trying a couple different things out, and yeah, just, you know, a whole bunch of different random things going on over there at my Ko-fi page. Also, if you'd like to submit a monster for the having the CR exposed, grab the link below or leave a comment, and I will add that to my list of monsters to check through. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into today's monster, the Miirym. Miirym from Candlekeep Mysteries, and this was user submitted oh so long ago, and we're going to take a look at it today. So with that, we have ourselves a 22 challenge rating for our monster, a large undead, with the following items here: 10 AC, nice and simple. We have large hit points, large hit dice I should say, large creature, large hit dice, so we're gonna have 25 d10 hit dice to get to that average hit dice pool. We have the following stats of 17 strength, 10 dex, 20 con, 18 intelligence, 15 wisdom, 23 charisma. And then from there we look at our statistics area, and we have saving throws. We have dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So that's 5 of the 6. We're only missing strength, surprisingly enough. So with that, we're going to go ahead over to our saving throw section, and we're going to add in 5 to 6, which is going to give us a +4 effective AC bonus bump. And as you saw, the AC has already jumped up a little bit here. Just to verify also, we have 262 hit points as we see in the stat block, which is nice and handy to have. After that, we have skills. We don't care about skills. Damage resistances and immunities. Now, in theory, we will probably start combining these now, as compared to Tales of the Valiant that also basically combines them, and go from there. So we have ourselves a bunch of resistances and a bunch of immunities. So because we have 3 immunities, we're going to go ahead and throw on the immunities here. Now, because the monster is a CR 22, resistances aren't going to matter anyways, and that's in the rules from D&D's DMG. So we're going to go ahead and throw in immunities, and we're going to get 25% more hit points. So that's going to give us 65 more, and our DCR, the defensive challenge rating, has already jumped down the chart here a little bit. Now, with that all out of the way, we also have some condition immunities, and D&D doesn't take these into consideration. Everything else is a moot point, so we skip down into our monster traits. Here we have bound to Candlekeep, and it basically can't leave. We're going to skip over this because I don't see this being really all that important. Miirym can't leave Candlekeep, is immune to any effects that would place her in a different location, regains her form and all of her hit points after 1d10 days, reappearing. So this is basically rejuvenation. Just Candlekeep is her phylactery. Or phylacterum? Phylactery, yeah, that sounds right. We do have regeneration though, so we're going to go ahead and add in regeneration over on the side here. And we have regeneration for, let's see here, 40 hit points at the start of her turn. So that's going to be a total of 120 effective hit points, which also, as you saw, is increasing our hit points even further. Then we have incorporeal movement, that doesn't matter. Legendary resistance, that does matter, so we're going to go ahead and throw that in. You're going to watch the blue DCR drop even more. We've jumped another 2 steps there for our DCR. We have X-ray vision, that doesn't matter, and then we move into our actions here. So we have our actions and legendary actions. So let's take a look at those here in a second. We're going to go and add those in. We have a bite. So right off the bat, we're seeing +10 for our bite action, and then everything else is going to be a DC. So for the moment, we're going to go ahead and add in the 10 here, although I have a feeling we may be using these more often. But we do have an option of a breath weapon, so that's curious. So let's go ahead and throw this all in. We're going to come up here for the monster attack section just for the fun of it. We're going to have 96 plus, it looks like, what are we working with? Strength here, for a total of 34 hit points, which is great. We will add that into the attack 1 workspace. So that is our bite attack. Then we have breath weapon that recharges on a 5 or 6. So we're only going to technically get one of these in the 3 rounds of combat. So we have a cold breath, a necrotic breath, or a paralyzing breath. So let's take a look at each of these to see which is going to be the most viable for our monster here, our undead. So our cold breath is going to deal 67 to 1 target, and on a failed save or half as much on a success, DC 21. And it looks like the DC 21 is used on all of these, so that is going to be our DC here. Now, in theory, we would hit anywhere between 2 to 4 targets, but that is only going to be once out of all of the rounds of combat here. So this is going to be fascinating. We don't have a multi-attack, so our monster is already going to be, you know, a little behind in the damage area. So this is probably why the breath weapon is going to be so important. So right off the bat, we're seeing 67 damage for the cold breath, 82 damage for the necrotic breath, no riders here, 120 foot line, 10 feet wide, and paralyzing breath. And that is going to be, you know, in essence, because paralyzing breath acts like a level 1 hold person spell, this is going to be a lot less in terms of effective DPR to effective hit points. So I'm not really worried about the paralyzing breath, and I'm going to go with the necrotic breath instead. So our second attack here is going to be, we'll just throw this in here just for the sake of having it, 15 D10 dice for a total of 82.5 damage on average. So we'll throw that over here into our second attack, and then we have no multi-attack, which is fascinating. So let's continue down the line here. We do have a Frightful Presence, and we also have a Frightful Presence action here for the monster traits. Now, the funny thing about Frightful Presence is after CR10, it gives us no benefit. So nothing's going on here for Frightful Presence, just like the Horrifying Visage as well from the Banshee. We don't have to worry about this one, so we can just uncheck it. It doesn't matter. And then we also have Spellcasting. Now, this one's interesting. We could, in essence, say, you know, we have Dancing Light, Mage Hand, Detect Magic, Detect Thoughts. Dispel Magic might be handy, and we also have Locate Creature. So these could be helpful, especially the Dispel Magic, but there's also Dispel Evil and Good and Wall of Force. Now, Wall of Force is the interesting one here. So let's take a look at Wall of Force. I believe, what is that? I don't remember exactly what spell level that is, so we're going to have to look this one up and see where this one's hiding. Alright, wall. Nope, no wall here. No wall there. 7. Ooh. Wall of Thorns. I thought this was a much higher... Oh, there we are. Okay. I thought this was a much higher spell, like level 8 or something. So, level 5 Wall of Force, 44 effective DPR. We come back to our calculator here. Let's throw 44 in here to see what that is for hit points. And we're going to see 110 effective hit points added in here. So this could be a good way to have the monster kind of split the party down the line somewhere and throw up this Wall of Force randomly on, you know, the first round of combat possibly, and then go into the legendary actions and concentrate on this. So let's do that. Let's add this in for our first round of combat for an extra 110 effective hit points, and then we will look at the rest of this. Now, like I said, I don't think any of these other ones are going to be all that important. Dispel Magic might be handy, but we don't even know if our party is going to have magic. In theory, we should probably have at least 1 to maybe 2 spellcasters. Nonetheless, let's take a look at our legendary actions here. Now, we have a Bite, and we have Teleport that costs 2. Now, Miirym has 3 legendary actions, and the Bite is clearly just going to be that, but we're going to do it times 3 because we can do it up to 3 times in one round of combat. Or we could do the Teleport and the a Bite as well. So I have this nice little testing feature over here that will give us an immediate amount of effective hit points. So for instance, if we're doing 120 every round and we turn this on, we're going to see an extra 68 effective hit points. Now, in theory, this is probably going to be more more beneficial to Miirym than doing 3 bites and just really bouncing around to take off and pick off like the weaker targets and what have you. So let's go with that. Let's take the teleporting here and see what we come up with for everything else. So then this will just be another bite attack. Technically we could say multi-attack for 2, but just to keep things kind of on level here in any event. So we're skipping over the rounds 1, 2, and 3 of combat, considering we have the Wall of Force we're concentrating on, and that's already being added into the game here. But we do have the 2 bites that we're allowed. So 1 bite normally, because we only have the 1 attack and no multi-attack, and then we have 1 more bite from legendary action. So we're going to go ahead and just put that in, plus this down here. And we're looking at, right now, with these thoughts, a CR 19. But that's with the teleport and using the Wall of Force on the first round of combat, which I think I may... Yep, you know what? It's going to be less than that because the first round of combat is nothing because we are putting up that Wall of Force. So actually, we just need to do this instead. Times 2, and then we'll repeat that. Yeah, so we're even lower here for Miirym with a CR 17, which is fascinating. So let's go ahead and backtrack this a little bit, and let's say we're going to skip the teleporting and we're going to skip the spell casting, and we're just going to focus entirely on biting. That's it, just 4 bites every round of combat. So we'll turn that off, and we will clear all of this out. Oops, I don't know how that happened. And we're going to say, all right, every round of combat we are just biting. So that's going to be 4 bites, regardless of what happens here. And now we have our CR 22. Okay, so basically what we're saying here is don't use spellcasting and don't teleport and just constantly bite every round of combat to hit that CR 22. Now, let's say our characters are bypassing the immunities, which are pretty easy to do. You know, cold, necrotic, and poison. Everyone knows in 5th edition, don't use poison because everything's immune or resistant to poison. So let's take a look at that. Let's take off immunities and see what happens next. Okay, no real big change here. We just drop our DCR from a 24 to a 23, and we continue to maintain that CR 22 that is printed here for Miirym. Otherwise, you know, if you don't attack every round of combat, you're really reducing the effectiveness of this large undead creature. Now, there's one more thing I want to play around with here, and I don't know if it's going to take into consideration, but my tool goes all the way to an experimental CR 60 for the fun of it. But I have this experimental AC adjustment down here for larger creatures, and what it's going to do is it's going to change the armor class rating column here. So we click this on, and we see now instead of 19s all the way through, the monster should have technically an expected higher AC range, and it follows the same pattern all the way through down through this to CR 30. So if we were to use a proper AC allotment here and adjust as the ones up here, where it's basically once we hit CR 5, every 3 CR levels we increase it by 1 or 2 or something like that. It follows a pattern here. I saw it however long ago. So by here we should be seeing an adjustment to the AC column, and this could potentially drop it down even further to a CR 21. But that's just experimental. I don't use it all that often, because as you can see here at CR 18 and 17, it's 19 all the way up, and then I kind of at 31 followed the pattern and went 20s and 21s. This is ridiculous. A CR 35 monster should not be expected to have an AC of 20. It should be much higher than that. That's why I have the experimental column. But anyways, this is the large undead Miirym monster from Candlekeep Mysteries. If you've enjoyed this video, and again, if you'd like to get this tool for yourself, you can get it at my Ko-fi page. Find the link in the description below. You can get it for free or donate if you are inclined to, whichever is perfectly fine by me. And anyways, like, subscribe, and leave a comment here for the algorithm engagements and what have you, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks everyone. Bye.